Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into cybersecurity, specifically looking ahead to 2025.
Yeah, it's a fast-moving target, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've pulled together some really interesting sources. We've got the CrowdStrike 2025 Global Threat Report, some deep dives into cryptography, stuff on managed service providers.
Cloud security, threat intel, quite a mix.
Exactly. And our mission today is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Cut through the noise and give you the essentials. What are the real threats? What defenses actually work? How does it all connect?
Sort of a high-level briefing, but with enough detail to be genuinely useful.
Precisely. Without drowning you in jargon. Okay, so where do we start?
Yeah.
That CrowdStrike report seems like a good place.
I think so. What really jumps out is how cyber adversaries are evolving. They're not just lone wolves anymore.
Right, the report uses terms like enterprising, even a business-like approach.
Exactly. Think organized operations, strategy. It demands a much more, strategic defense from our side.
That totally makes sense. And the report flagged some worrying trends from last year that seem to be picking up steam.
Oh, definitely. Big increases in social engineering, which is always a problem, but also more cloud intrusions.
And those malware-free techniques you mentioned, that sounds tricky. How does that even work?
Well, it often means using legitimate tools already on a system, like scripting languages or admin tools, for malicious purposes, so no traditional virus signature to detect.
Sneaky. And it's not just criminals, right? Nation-states are getting more involved.
Very much so. Cyber espionage is intensifying, and they're starting to leverage AI, which is concerning.
Okay, this is where it gets specific. The report actually names names, doesn't it?
It does. They highlight a few key players to watch. Famous Cholima, which is linked to North Korea.
Okay.
Chatty Spider, a major e-crime group.
Right.
And Liminal Panda, associated with China.
Naming them like that feels significant. It makes it less abstract somehow.
It really does. It helps us understand their likely goals, their methods, what we call TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures.
And knowing those TTPs is the core of cyber threat intelligence, or CTI, right?
Precisely. CTI is all about that evidence-based knowledge, who's attacking, how they do it, and what we can actually do about it.
Okay, so if that's the threat landscape, let's talk defense. Cryptography seems like ground zero.
Absolutely fundamental. One of the sources, an introduction to cryptography, really dives into things like PGP.
PGP, pretty good privacy, still relevant.
Very much so. It uses this clever hybrid approach, combines the speed of conventional symmetric encryption with the key management benefits of public key crypto.
And I saw something surprising in there. PGP compresses data before encrypting. Why?
Ah, that's a neat trick. It's not just about file size. Compression actually makes the encryption stronger.
How so?
Well, it reduces patterns in the original data, makes it look more random. And randomness is the enemy of cryptanalysis, code breaking.
Like shuffling a deck really well before dealing.
Exactly. Makes it much harder to guess the original order.
Okay, so if we're using public keys, how do we trust them? How do I know this key really belongs to you?
That's the million-dollar question. This is where certification authorities, or CAs, come in.
The gatekeepers.
Sort of. In systems like those using X.509 certificates, think websites with HTTPS, you often have registration authorities, RAs, who check your ID first.
Right.
And then the CA issues the actual digital certificate. The book calls the CA the grand poobah of validation.
Huh. I like that. The ultimate authority.
It captures that idea of needing a trusted third party. PGP handles it a bit differently, more decentralized, but the principle's the same. Link a key to an identity reliably.
How do you check that link then, practically?
Well, the book mentions physically swapping keys, which is not very common these days.
No kidding.
More often, you verify the key's unique fingerprint. It's usually a long string of hex characters.
Or those weird biometric words. Sometimes.
Yeah, those too. The point is to manually confirm, yep, this string matches the one they gave me. It's a direct check.
But what if you don't know the person directly? Can you trust someone else's judgment?
Now you're getting into the web of trust idea, which is big in PGP. You can trust a key because someone you trust has signed it, vouching for it.
Like degrees of separation. I trust Bob, Bob trusts Alice, so I have some reason to trust Alice's key.
Exactly. It's cumulative. You might assign different levels of trust, too. Maybe you only marginally trust Bob's judgment, so Alice's key isn't fully trusted just based on that.
So you can fine-tune it. What about those CAs in the X.509 world? They relate to this.
They do. Think of root CAs as the ultimate meta-introducers everyone trusts implicitly. Then subordinate CAs are like trusted introducers validated by the root CAs. It's a more hierarchical structure than PGP's web.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if a key gets compromised? or someone leaves a company. How do you undo that trust?
Revocation, it's crucial. In X.509, the issuing CA typically revokes the certificate. In PGP, the key owner or someone they pre-designated can issue a revocation certificate.
And you have to tell people it's revoked, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Posting it to key servers is common for PGP, so others know not to trust that key anymore. Communication is key.
Speaking of keys, protecting your private key is paramount. The book really hammers on strong passphrases.
Yes, not passwords, passphrases. Longer, more complex. Think sentences, not single words. They protect your private key file itself from being used, even if someone steals it.
And they warn against using anything guessable,
Like punchlines to jokes or common phrases. Dictionary attacks are real. You need something truly random or complex.
what about that idea of key splitting? The book seemed wary of it.
Yeah, splitting a corporate signing key among several people. It sounds secure, maybe, but it means any one of those people could potentially sign something deceptively. Less common now, and generally not recommended.
The main takeaway seems to be, guard your private key and its passphrase like gold. Don't put it on shared machines.
Absolutely. Physical control and strong protection are non-negotiable. PGP was really born out of this desire for individual control over privacy, especially with email surveillance becoming a concern.
Right, they mentioned the historical context, like the government's Clipper chip idea back in the 90s.
Yeah, the pushback against that was huge. People wanted strong crypto without backdoors. PGP provided that using well-regarded, publicly known algorithms.
Which algorithms does it use?
Good question. The book lists CAST, Triple D's, IDEA, Twofish, all developed by reputable cryptographers. Solid stuff. It also mentions Rindale, which later became AES, the Advanced Encryption Standard, another strong one.
So, established peer-reviewed crypto, not some homebrew algorithm.
Exactly. And the source code being available means people can check it. That transparency builds trust. They even quote an NSA deputy director basically saying PGP is incredibly hard to break.
That's a strong endorsement. But the book also warns that the crypto itself isn't the only weak point.
Oh, for sure. Cryptography can be perfect, but if someone guesses your passphrase...
Or tricks you into installing malware that steals your key.
Right, or exploits a bug in your operating system, or uses a fake PGP program, a Trojan horse. PGP kind of assumes your computer itself is trustworthy.
That's a big assumption sometimes. What about things like swap files?
Good point. Sensitive stuff keys, passphrases, even the decrypted text could potentially get written to your hard drive temporarily in virtual memory or swap files. That's a risk.
And tempest attacks. That sounds wild. Detecting signals from the screen.
Yeah, electromagnetic emanations. It's high-level stuff, usually nation-state capability, requires sensitive equipment nearby. Shielding is the countermeasure, but it shows the lengths attackers could go to.
So PGP is strong, compression helps, but you need good security hygiene around it. Don't use it on a shared library computer, basically.
Pretty much, and definitely not on multi-user systems where others might gain access. Protect the whole environment, not just the encryption step.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Let's talk about attack methods beyond just breaking encryption. We see terms like multi-vector, polymorphic attacks. What's that about?
Sounds complicated, right? It basically means attacks that use several different methods at once, maybe email phishing and exploiting a web vulnerability. And the attack code itself changes form, morphs, to avoid detection by antivirus.
Like a chameleon blending in while attacking from multiple angles. Nasty.
Very. And phishing is still huge, as we mentioned. Those fake invoices, urgent requests, trying to trick you into clicking or giving up login.
And spear phishing is the targeted version.
Exactly. Using details about you or your job to make the scam seem much more legitimate. It's all social engineering playing on trust or fear to get information or access.
Which bypasses technical defenses by targeting us, the humans.
Yes. Yep. That's why security architecture is so important. Designing systems securely from the ground up, thinking about how components interact, what controls are needed based on risk, standardizing things.
And things like two-factor authentication, 2FA, help plug those gaps.
Definitely. Requiring something you know password and something you have, phone code, makes simple credential theft much less effective. It's a basic but powerful control.
But for pure social engineering, or someone physically accessing your machine, tech alone isn't the answer.
No, that comes down to awareness training, what the sources call digital hygiene or cyber hygiene.
Like washing your hands, but for computers.
Kind of. It's the routine stuff. Update your software, use strong passwords, back up your data, be careful with admin rights, configure firewalls. basic blocking and tackling.
Seems simple, but easily overlooked. And the list of systems at risk is, well, everything.
Pretty much. Financial systems, utilities, aviation, medical devices, cars, phones, government, the whole Internet of Things. If it's connected, it's potentially a target.
It's sobering. They even mention the Morris worm from way back.
A reminder that self-spreading code isn't new. And those huge breaches like OPM or Ashley Madison show the scale of data that can be lost.
Okay, so given all these threats, many organizations are turning to outside help, right? Managed service providers or MSPs?
Yes, the MSP market is booming. There are real economic advantages for businesses.
Like what? Cost savings?
Often, yes. MSPs can use their staff more efficiently across multiple clients. They can also invest heavily in tools and platforms, security tools, automation, and spread that cost, making high-end capabilities more affordable for smaller businesses.
And they specialize in this stuff. It's their core business, unlike maybe an internal IT department juggling everything.
Exactly. They focus on best practices, constantly evolving their services. Customers expect cost savings, sure, but also access to the latest tech and expertise.
And the growth numbers reflect that.
Yeah, projections for 2025 show strong growth, like 13% globally in managed services revenue through the channel, APAC leading the way.
Wow. And lots of M&A activity expected too. Mergers and acquisitions.
Seems likely, especially in hot areas like MDR, Managed Detection and Response, and XDR, which is Extended Detection and Response. Companies offering AI-driven service tools are also becoming acquisition targets.
So consolidation and specialization in the MSP world. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's circle back to cyber threat intelligence, CTI. You mentioned it earlier. How does it practically help?
It's about moving from being reactive to proactive. CTI gives you context. Who's attacking? Why are they attacking me? How are they doing it? What signs should I look for?
So it informs your defenses based on real-world attacker behavior, especially those APTs, advanced persistent threats.
Precisely. It helps you understand their TTPs. This illuminates the unknown, shows you what adversaries are actually doing, and helps leaders make smarter risk decisions.
And it can save money and boost efficiency for security teams.
Definitely. Better intelligence means faster incident response, maybe needing less specialized internal staff, and making the analysts you do have more effective because they're focused on relevant threats.
Does it help different roles specifically?
Yes. Analysts use it for better prevention detection. SOC teams use it to prioritize alerts, which ones are really dangerous. Incident response teams, CRTs, use it to respond faster. Intel analysts track threat groups. Management gets a strategic risk picture.
And there's a whole life cycle to it.
Right. It's a cycle. Figure out your requirements. What do you need to know? Collect data, process it, analyze it for insights, disseminate the intelligence to those who need it, and then get feedback to improve the whole loop.
CrowdStrike has tools for this.
They do. Their Falcon adversary intelligence includes things like malware analysis tools, malware search, and feeds of indicators of compromise, IOCs, those telltale signs of an infection.
So, tools to automate investigation, get tailored intel, respond faster. Sounds crucial.
It really is becoming table stakes for mature security programs.
Okay, let's talk cloud security again, specifically cryptography in the cloud. Storing data out there feels inherently risky.
It does introduce challenges since you don't control the physical infrastructure. One approach described uses a combination of keys.
How does that work?
The data owner encrypts their data using a symmetric key, fast and efficient. Let's call it KeySym.
Okay.
They also have their own public-private key pair, and the cloud provider has its public-private key pair. The owner sends their public key, UPub, to the cloud.
Got it.
Then, the owner encrypts their symmetric key, SYMON, using the cloud provider's public key, CPub. Let's call this encrypted key, KE.
Right.
They send their data, encrypted with SIM, and the encrypted key, KE, to the cloud. The cloud stores both, but can't read the data because it doesn't have SIM, and it can't get SIM without the owner's private key.
So only the owner, with their private key, can unlock KE to get SIM, and then unlock the actual data. Clever layering.
Exactly. And the source highlights AES as a common, strong, symmetric algorithm for KISM. Widely supported, no known practical attacks, very reliable.
Good to know there are robust methods for cloud data protection. Now, quickly on ethical hacking. What are the key stages mentioned?
Two big ones are scanning and gaining access. Scanning is probing the target, finding open ports, services, potential vulnerabilities, reconnaissance, basically.
Mapping the battlefield.
Right. Then gaining access is actually exploiting those weaknesses found during scanning, maybe password cracking, social engineering, using a known software flaw.
Understanding how attackers think helps defenders.
Yeah. Immensely. You need to know the offense to play good defense.
Finally, what about the government and legal side?
Governments are definitely stepping up regulation. GDPR in Europe is a huge example, forcing companies to protect personal data.
And we have CERTs, Computer Emergency Response Teams.
Yep, many countries have them. Canada, Australia, US, India, South Korea. They help coordinate national responses to major cyber incidents and share information.
Though things like U.S. Cybercom are more military-focused, not civilian network protection per se.
Correct. And historically, concepts like the CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, availability from early security research, like the Ware Report, still form the bedrock of information security goals.
It's amazing how long some of these core ideas have been around, even as the technology races ahead.
It really is. From the creeper worm to sophisticated state-sponsored espionage, the game keeps evolving, but some principles endure.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up. What are the big takeaways from this deep dive into 2025 cybersecurity?
Well, threats are definitely getting more sophisticated, more business-like. Strong crypto, like PGP and AES, is vital, but it's not enough on its own.
Right, that comprehensive security hygiene, technical controls, and user awareness is critical. Social engineering remains a huge threat vector.
And we're seeing MSPs play a bigger role, offering expertise and economies of scale. Plus, cyber threat intelligence is becoming essential for proactive defense.
Don't forget cloud security strategies and understanding attacker methods through things like ethical hacking frameworks. It's a complex picture.
It truly is. Which leads us to a final thought for you listening in.
Go for it.
Given how fast things are changing, how sophisticated attacks are getting, and how connected everything is, what proactive steps can you personally take? How can you improve your own digital security, whether at home or at work, and really deepen your understanding of this landscape?
That's the key question, isn't it? It's not just for the experts anymore. We all need to be more informed and proactive.
Exactly. Passive defense isn't really cutting it anymore.
Food for thought. We hope this deep dive gave you some valuable insights to consider in your own context. Thanks for joining.